Welcome back to OT Sports. Today we got episode 9 of NBA Playoff Watch. We haven't done one of these in about like 2 weeks, so I felt it was time for an update for, our standings, just looking at every team, and then obviously the playoff predictions if it were to end today. If you're new around here, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We got lots of content: college basketball, college football, NFL, NBA, and MLB. So we got plenty of content. Make sure you turn on the noties to make sure you don't miss out on any of those. And yeah, if you enjoy this video, make sure you leave a like. As always, my Discord and X are linked in the description. You can join that. You can follow that, whatever you'd like to do. But yeah, I think that's enough. That's all I got. So let's just get right into the Eastern Conference standings. So looking at the number one seed, we got the Celtics still in front. They got a 3.5 game lead, and yeah, I mean, in my opinion, they've looked like the best team in basketball so far. We're about halfway through the season, and they've looked like the best. I think they could potentially they maybe you could make an argument for 5 All-Stars. I don't think Drew Holiday is quite there this season, but potentially 4. Tatum is for sure a lock. Jaylen Brown probably. Porzingis and Derek White maybes. They've both been very good at what Boston's needed them to do, and yeah, they have the best record in the league for the reason I think they are the best team in the league. The Bucks at the 2 seed, 30-13, but they just fired their head coach, so I'm interested to see who they hire. Maybe it's Doc Rivers. I've kind of been hearing some of those, that circulate around the NBA world, that name in the Bucks. But yeah, I wasn't expecting that, especially with the success that they've been having in the season. Obviously, they brought in Damian Lillard. It's looked very good so far, so it's just see what route they go. But yeah, Giannis, Dame. I mean, those two, they're going to win you a lot of games, just those two alone. Philly at 3, 29-13. They're just a half game back of the Bucks. They've been looking really good. And yeah, Embiid just put up 70 last night, so congrats to him. Amazing game. And I mean, yeah, he just looked great, and he's been great all season. He's definitely the MVP, first place for MVP in my opinion. 36 points per game is 36 points per game is just ridiculous. 12 rebounds along with 6 assists, a steal, and 2 blocks. And he's not even the only guy on their team. You got Tyrese Maxey at almost 26 points per game. Tobias Harris is pushing 18 points per game. Kelly Oubre is really taking a step up for them this season. This Sixers team, I don't know what it is. I'm kind of liking it. I think they definitely have the chance to make a run in the playoffs. I mean, I wouldn't put past them conference finals, maybe even finals. I think Embiid and Maxey are just playing at that good enough at a high enough level to make it there. The Cavs, 26-15, they've been kind of in the play-in range for the majority of the season, but recently they've just hit a hot streak. They've won 8 in a row now. They're 8-2 in their last 10 games. And they're finally getting healthy. Donovan Mitchell's doing his thing. Darius Garland's kind of been injured. Same with really their whole team's been out at certain points in the year. We really haven't seen their whole team, but recently we have, and it's looked a lot better. It's looking more like the Cavs of last season. This is where I think this is where I projected them to finish. And yeah, I mean, they have a very good team, so they're sitting at the 4 seed. The Knicks at the 5 seed. With OG Anunoby, they've actually been doing very good. 8-2 in their last 10 games. Anunoby, he's looking pretty good for them. I'm kind of liking the addition now. It's interesting to see how quickly Emmanuel Quickly and RJ Barrett continue to do in Toronto. Because if things change and they start, just expanding and just like becoming a better player, then obviously I might view this trade a little differently. I still think it's a fairly even trade. Well, at least as of right now. I did say the Raptors won the trade, and I think they probably still will. But as of right now, the Knicks are winning, so it's good for them. The Heat have kind of been on a cold streak recently. They've lost 3 in a row. They're 5-5 in their last 10. But they're still at the 6th seed, tied with the Pacers. They have the tiebreaker. I don't know what it is, but they have it. Jimmy Butler's not been he's not been quite there. And this season. 21 points per game. He's only third in scoring on his team. Bam Adebayo's been very good, but Tyler Hero's also been out, and I think is he out for the season? Am I making that up? I feel like I'm gonna find that for you, but yeah, we know the Heat are tend to turn it on. Um, they tend to turn it on in the playoffs. Tyler Hero's not out for the year. I don't know what I was saying, but yeah, they tend to turn it on in the playoffs. They're kind of more the defensive team, not so much scoring wise, but the offense just doesn't look great right now. And yeah, like I said, they're not a big scoring team, but you like to see a little bit more out of them, especially with them being not even in the play-in. They're top six seed in the East. The Pacers at 7. The offense continues to do very, very amazing things for them. Um, Tyrese Halliburton's looking great. He was injured for kind of the 2 weeks I missed. I feel like, but he he's back and he's looked all right in his first 2 games. Pascal Siakam, 18 points per game through 2 games with his new team. He's looked good. Bruce Brown's been pretty good. I'm really liking this team. They're a very deep team. They spread the ball around a lot. That's a lot. That's partially, that's a lot to do with Tyrese Halliburton. They have nine players averaging over 10 points per game. They're averaging 125 a game as a whole team, which is ridiculous. The Pacers have a very explosive offense, by far the best offense in the league, and I think they could definitely make some noise in the playoffs. As of right now, I'm not too sure, but they are sitting at the 7 seed. The Magic at 8. They've been kind of struggling as of late. I don't want to say, well, they're 4-6 in their last 10, so that's not great. It definitely could be worse. Pelle Bencaro and Franz Wagner continue to lead the charge with Cole Anthony and Jalen Suggs. Wendell Carter's been good. Markel Fultz, he hasn't really played much, but I mean neither has Wendell Carter. But I'm liking how the Magic are playing. I definitely think they'll probably end the season in this range. I don't think they're good enough to be a top 6 team, but I don't think they're bad enough to miss the play-in entirely. The Bulls at 9, man, they just continue to win games. I don't know what it is. They're 6-4 in their last 10. Kobe White continues to play great basketball. I mean, they just look better without LaVine. If I'm being honest, I mean, I'm a Bulls fan, so I watch the majority of their games, and they just look just like they just look like a better team. They win more without Zach LaVine, which is crazy because he's probably their best player. But I've heard the market's just nothing for him, and he has a very big contract. You'd like to get something good out of him, but unfortunately, I just don't see a world where they can do that. Kobe White's been very good, I will say, which is very nice to see. Um, but yeah, they're in the play-in. I don't really see. I don't think they can go any higher than 7, but they could definitely drop out of the play-in. I wouldn't be shocked. Their range is kind of like 7 to 12 seed. Uh, Anywhere to, that's kind of my projected just where they would finish. Where they finish the season at. The Hawks looking for a DeJounte Murray trade. It seems like they're about to pull the trigger on one with the Lakers involving D'Angelo Russell and Rui Hachimura. Don't know what I think about that for the Lakers. Maybe it's good just because, but I mean, I don't know. They kind of need a shooter. The defense is very good for the Lakers. So adding another defensive first kind of guard, I don't know if that's really the thing I would look for. But yeah, it's looking like they're getting it. I mean, I don't want to say he's bad offensively. 21 points per game is very good. But the Hawks definitely do need to change something up. I don't think this core right now is going to work, and I don't think it's going to amount to anything more than a 9 or 10 seed in the play-in. The Nets at 11. Cam Thomas and Mikal Bridges are doing great. Cam Johnson, Spencer Dinwiddie, they just don't really have that star that kind of sticks out. They're pretty much average in both offense and defense. Nothing too special for the Nets. I don't really have much to talk about. The Raptors at 16 and 28. Man, I don't see that. I mean, they're only 2.5 games out of the play-in, but it just seems like they just cannot win a game. I don't know what it is. I feel like every time I look at the Raptors, they're just losing. They're 2-8 in their last 10. Getting quickly in R.J. Barrett, they just don't look the same. Scotty Barnes is, he's been very good, but he's not good enough to carry a team. Unfortunately, not quite yet. I think he definitely has the potential to get there, but as of right now, um, he's not quite there yet. The Hornets at 10-31. These bottom three teams in the East are just bad. Kyle Lowry is on the Hornets now. He got traded for Terry Rozier, who Terry Rozier is averaging 23 points per game, and I do want to say I can kind of see a bright future for this team. Miles Bridges is averaging over 20. He's averaging almost 21 points per game. LaMelo Ball is averaging about 25. And Brandon Miller's all the way up to 15 points per game. This team is a very young team, and I actually could see a future here. PJ Washington's been a good. Yeah, I could definitely see him be, like a role player in the future. Cody Martin's been all right. You got Mark Williams. He's very young. Gordon Hayward's been, he's been all right. Role player, obviously, he's pretty old, but yeah. Now they have Kyle Lowry, so we'll see how that works out. I don't know what the idea was there, but it happened. The Wizards just not. They're just a bad team. They might. I mean, they're pretty close to the Pistons. Bad, So that's not great. Um, yeah, it's just there's not much to say here. Kuzma and Poole, that's about it. And those two aren't good enough to really amount to anything. And I'm not. They have potential to be good. They're still both very young, but as of right now, those two aren't good enough to make a play-in. And you can see that with their 7-35 record, and then the Pistons still at the bottom, just nothing happening for them. So yeah, moving on to the West, the Timberwolves still at the 1 seed. They're 30-13. Cat dropped 62, I believe it was yesterday, so that was cool. Um, you know, 60 and a 70-point game in the same night. That was kind of cool to see. Um, But I don't know. I feel like I'm still missing a little bit from Anthony Edwards. I just want him to become that superstar level player that in the MVP conversation, because I think he can get there. It's just, and I thought he would take that step forward this season. I'm not saying he hasn't gotten better, but just not as cool, not as high as my expectations and what I thought he would turn into. But he definitely can still get there. He's still a very young player. The Thunder at 2. Speaking of very young, they're a very young team. SGA is probably my second place vote for MVP right now. He's just been phenomenal. He is one of the best players in the league. So love to see that from him. He's probably my favorite player in the league as of this point. Um, Either him or Ja Morant. But I'm loving what I'm seeing from the Thunder. The Nuggets at 3. They're a half game back of first, so don't freak out. They're in the 3rd seed right now. They'll be fine. Jamal Murray was injured for, I don't know, what was it, like 20 games. He's back now. They look a lot better, and they're really returning to form. Because obviously they won it all last season. The Clippers at 4. This is kind of my sleeper team. These next like 4 teams I think can all really make some noise. The Clippers, I had them making a run in the playoffs last episode. We'll see what I do in a little bit here. But yeah, the Clippers look really good. James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Russell Westbrook. That is just a plethora of names. They also have Norman Powell. They have Zubac. I'm really liking this team, honestly. I think they could definitely make a conference final. I don't think that's ridiculous to say, to be honest. The Suns, kind of similar. They're looking a lot better than how they started off the year. Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal. That's just a. I think the Clippers are a little bit more deep. I like the Clippers' defense a lot more. So I do like the Clippers more than the Suns. But when you have Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, that could get you like 100 points just off of those two. So, and then the Pelicans, just kind of a sleeper, sleeper team. Zion, Brandon Ingram, Valanciunas. They've got plenty of guys, and they're winning games 25 and 18. Very very solid for the Pelicans right now. The Kings, their offense is starting to heat up a little bit. They're getting a lot better. They started off the season a little bit slow, but they've started to pick it back up now. The Mavericks at 8, you got Luka Doncic, you got Kyrie, but besides that, you not really anyone else. You got Tim Hardaway Jr. You got what's his name? The Rick Derek Lively. They got some guys, but just not quite. They don't have that much depth. That does concern me come playoff time. But when you have Luka, he can give you 60 if he needs to. The Lakers, it's just bad. This happens every year. It feels like it's just bad. 22 and 22 halfway through the season. That's not what you want to see. When you have LeBron James, who's running out of time, and Anthony Davis, who's also getting up there in age. He's looking. He's not slowing down, but he's looking like he's peaking right about now, or you could make an argument he's already peaked. I think. He's been really good this season. Defensively, especially, I think if he plays enough games, which he has so far. Now, I don't want to jinx him or anything, so I'm crossing my fingers. But as of right now, he's played enough. He will be on pace to play enough games to win DPOY, and I think he definitely deserves one in his career. He is one of the better defenders in NBA history, and he still doesn't have a DPOY, so that's pretty unfortunate. But if there's any year for him to win it, it's this year. He's been great. LeBron has also been really good defensively this season. But, besides those two, Rui Hachimura has been alright. D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves, all of them have kind of just been alright. I really like their offseason moves, but it just hasn't really amounted to anything. And then the Jazz sneak in here at 10. First time seeing them in the play-in. Good for them. They've been winning some games. They've kind of been hot recently. And they sneak into the play-in. The Rockets, man, to be honest, I don't think they have enough to make the play-in. Fred VanVleet, Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, I don't think that's going to cut it in the Western Conference. And then the Warriors, they got to do something. Andrew Wiggins has done nothing all year. Klay Thompson is out of his prime at this point. And Curry, similar to LeBron, is running out of time here. So I think Curry definitely has to pressure the front office a little bit more. Kind of similar how LeBron does it. Because I think a change does need to happen. Maybe we'll see one at the trade deadline. I hope so. Because Curry in the playoffs is just great to watch. But as of right now, there's, it's not looking good. They're 12th place, and 2 games out of the play-in, 5.5 games out of the playoffs. So just not looking good right now. Halfway through the season, the Grizzlies, John Moran is now out for the season. So can they still make a play-in? I think they can, but it is going to be pretty tough without your best player. We saw how much they struggled without him to start the year. They were getting back into the groove of things, and now he is out for the year. It's unfortunate. The Trailblazers have actually been winning a couple games recently, but I don't see them making the play-in. Anthony Simons has been good. Jeremy Grant's actually been kind of underrated this season. He's been their best player so far. He's been really good. And then the Spurs at the bottom. Besides Wembanyama, there's not much help there. I mean, you got Keldon Johnson, uh, Devin Vassell, but that's just not enough it's not gonna cut it in this league, and especially in the Western Conference. So let's move into the bracket, the playoff bracket. We're gonna start on the bottom left, the 7 seed Kings versus the 8 seed Mavericks. I'm gonna take the Kings. I think they're just overall the better team. Now, Luka, in a one-game scenario, I think could go off. I think he could carry this team. He's done it before, and I'm not putting it past him to do it again. But I think the Kings, both these teams have very good offenses. I just don't know who's going to guard Sabonis. I don't really trust Derek Lively. He has been very good, but he is a rookie. And I feel like the Kings are the more deep team. Both these teams not great defensively. I'm going to go with the Kings. I just trust their overall offense a little bit more, but Luka does scare me. So we'll move the Mavericks to that elimination game. And then the 9 versus 10, the Lakers versus Jazz. As much as I was hating on the Lakers, I do have to take them here. I just can't really trust the Jazz. They have been hot recently, but it's LeBron James and Anthony Davis in a one-game scenario. The Jazz have Lauri Markkanen, Jordan Clarkson, John Collins, but just not quite the names I'm looking for when you're playing up against LeBron in a playoff scenario. Mavericks versus Lakers in this elimination game for the 8 seed. I am going to go with the Mavericks. I think they've been overall the better team. The Lakers have just been struggling to win games. There's like a stat or something that in a certain stretch, no team was worse than the Lakers, not even the Pistons or teams like the Wizards, the Spurs, the Hornets, Trailblazers. So that's not good when you see stats like that. I'm going to go with the Mavericks. The Lakers just worry me too much, very inconsistent. I can't trust them. Moving over to the bottom right corner of the screen, the Pacers versus the Magic, 7 seed versus 8 seed. I am going to go with the Pacers. I trust them a little bit more. The Magic are still a young team. Now, the Pacers are too, but that offense is just so explosive. I don't think the Magic will have enough to keep up. Tyrese Halliburton has been amazing. So we'll move the Magic to the 8 seed match. And then the Bulls versus the Hawks. I feel like these two always play in close games. I am going to go with the Bulls. I just, I don't know. Maybe I'm a little biased. I feel like they do good against the Hawks. They're always close games, so this would be a good game to watch. I just don't like what the Hawks have built around Trae Young, and I just think the Bulls, I mean, you got DeRozan, Vucevic. I like their defense a lot in this matchup. The Hawks defense has really struggled, and I think the Bulls defense could honestly shut down the Hawks offense. They got a lot of perimeter defenders. I'm going to go with the Bulls, but I am going to go with the Magic here. I just think they're overall the better team. They are young. The Bulls are definitely more experienced, and I wouldn't put it past them to win this game. But the Magic have been, as high as the 2 seed in certain parts of the season in the Eastern Conference, so I'm going to go with the Magic. I think they're overall the better team. I think they have the higher ceiling in the playoffs than the Bulls do. Yes, they are young, but they've looked better. So I'm going to go with Orlando. So that brings us to the 16 teams left. The typical, 8 in the West, 8 in the East. The typical NBA playoff bracket. Let's get right into the first round. Timberwolves versus Mavericks. I am going to go with the Timberwolves. I'm going to keep this nice and sweet and short and sweet. They're better. Luka will win them a game, maybe 2. But the Timberwolves are the 1 seed for a reason. I'm going to go with the Timberwolves in 6. I think Luka will actually win them 2 games. I think it actually could be a little bit of a closer series than people might think, but I am going to go with the Timberwolves still. 4 versus 5, Clippers versus Suns. This is a tough one. 2 teams I'm very high on. They've both looked very good recently, but I am going to go with the Clippers. I think they're overall the more deep team. I think the Suns just have no depth at all, and that worries me come playoff time. The Clippers are very deep. They play good defense. They both have a plethora of big names, but the Clippers have more depth. And I honestly trust their coaching more. So I'm going to go with the Clippers in 6. They will have home court advantage, too, in this series. Nuggets versus Pelicans, 3 versus 6. The Pelicans do have a very high ceiling, but as of right now, I got to take the defending champs. I'll go in 5. I just trust the Nuggets a whole lot more than I do the Pelicans. So give me Denver. And then the 2 versus 7, Thunder versus Kings. I honestly think this might go 7 games. This is a very tough one for me to pick. I'm very high on the Kings. They were the 3 seed last year. The Thunder obviously lost in the play-in round, or in the play-in tournament last season. But I'm going to go with the Thunder. SGA's just been amazing. They got a lot of. I mean, they're a very deep team. They play defense. They have a very good offense too. They are young, but I am gonna go with them. SGA's just. He's been amazing. I mean, like I said earlier, he's probably my second place vote in MVP as of right now. I'm gonna go with the Thunder in 7. I think they get it done. Moving over to the East, Celtics versus Magic. I'll go Celtics in 4. The Magic are a very young team. Celtics have been there, done that, and I think. I mean, like I said, I think they've looked like the best team so far, halfway through the season. The Cavs versus the Knicks, a rematch of last year's 4 versus 5. The Knicks did take it, I think, 5 games last year. I think, as of right now, I'd go with the Cavs to get their revenge. Both these teams have been pretty good recently, but the Cavs on an 8-game win streak. They've been very hot. They're getting healthy at the right time. I'm going to go with them to get their revenge. I'll go in 6. Then we go to the 3 versus 6, Sixers versus Heat. This is a good game. This is a good series. The Sixers have been known to kind of fall off a little in the playoffs. Embiid, not really known for the biggest playoff performer, and the Heat are that team that always figure it out come playoff time, and they always make it far in the playoffs. This is a recipe for disaster, but as of right now, Embiid is averaging 36 points per game, 12 rebounds, 6 assists, a steal and 2 blocks. Tyrese Maxey's he's at 26 points per game. Tobias Harris has looked great. And the Heat just honestly have not looked good as of late. I'm going to go with the Sixers. This is a tough one just because of the history of these two teams, but I'll go with the Sixers in 6 games. And then we move down to the Bucks versus the Pacers. The Pacers have beaten the Bucks, I think, 4 times this season, which is ridiculous to say that. But I think in a playoff type scenario, Giannis and Dame would figure it out. I think they would get it done. You could say a little bit of revenge. I think they would win that one against the Pacers. The Pacers just don't have a defense, and the Bucks definitely have a defense, and they have a very good offense too. They're the more overall well-rounded team. They're the more experienced team. Give me Milwaukee there. So a little chalky through the first round. We picked all the favorites, but I promise you, it will get better when we move into the second round. So looking at that first matchup, Timberwolves versus Clippers, I said I was going to take some upsets, and I'm going to do it right now. I think I trust the Clippers a little bit more. I trust their coaching a lot more. Like I said, they're a very deep team. They play great defense. They've looked a lot better on offense as of recently. The Timberwolves, I feel like, could potentially be in store for a first-round exit. I've been high on them all season. I was high on them preseason, but I don't know what it is. They played a really close game against the Hornets. The defense hasn't looked spectacular. Naz Reid's been really good, but I'm going to go with the Clippers. I honestly trust their team more in a playoff type scenario. In a playoff scenario, because it's not a playoff type. We're talking about the playoffs here. Nuggets versus Thunder. I'm actually gonna go with the Nuggets. I think the Nuggets are just it's kind of similar. I think they're overall the better team. I think the Thunder could also lose first round just because of how young they are and how inexperienced they are. But like I said, SGA has been very good. But Jokic is probably my third place vote for MVP, so he's right there too. Once again, Jamal Murray. I mean, they got all the guys from last year's team. They did lose a little bit of depth, but they're still a very good team. There's a reason that they are. Them and the Thunder are both a half game back out of first place. So obviously both very good teams. But I'm gonna go with the Nuggets. They're more experienced. I'll take Denver in that one. Boston versus Cleveland in the 1 versus 4. I'm gonna go with the Celtics. I mean, like I've been saying this whole time, I think the Celtics are just the best team. They look like the best team, so I gotta take them. Now the Cavs have been very hot recently, which I think could hurt the Celtics. losing the conference finals last year to a very hot Heat team. So maybe it happens here, but I don't know. I'm gonna go with the Celtics. They look like us. I mean, they're just a very stacked team. So give me Boston. I'll go in 6. I think no, I'll go in 5 because I don't know. I don't really trust the Cavs to make it far in the playoffs just because they don't look. They only won one game last season after finishing as a 4 seed, winning over 50 games. Philly versus Milwaukee. This would be a great series, but I gotta go with who I trust more in a playoff scenario, and I trust Giannis a whole lot more than I do Embiid. These are potentially the two best players in the league going head to head. I trust Milwaukee's supporting cast a little bit more than I do the Sixers. So I'm gonna go with them. I'm interested to see what the coaching, who they hire as coach, because that could change things. But as of right now, we don't know. I'm gonna go with the Bucks. I'll go in 6. No, I'll go in 7. Because I think the Sixers are a very, very good team. Um, so yeah, moving on to the Western Conference Finals, we got the Clippers taking on the Nuggets. Uh, I'm sorry, the run I think ends here. I gotta go with the Nuggets. It's the boring pick, but I think they make it back to the finals for the second year in a row. I mean, they're just the team I trust the most in the West. I've been looking at these 8 teams out of everyone. I think the Nuggets would have probably the highest odds to make the finals. And yeah, like I said, as of right now, I trust them the most. I'll go Nuggets in. I'll go Nuggets in 6. Actually, I'll go Nuggets in 5. I don't know. I like the matchup here for some reason. I think the Clippers would. I think the Clippers are a really good team. I don't know. I just don't see them winning that many games in this series. Moving over to the Eastern Conference Finals, I'm telling you right now, I think this one would probably go 7 games. These are by far the two best teams in the Eastern Conference. You can make an argument these are the two best teams in the league. I don't know if I would go that far, but it's definitely an argument. Um, these two teams are very good. But I've been saying this the whole time. I think the Celtics are just the best. They've looked like the best team, so I gotta go with them. I mean, they've shown me. They haven't shown me anything that worries me. Um, they made it to the finals in 2010, 22, 20, They made it to the finals in 2022. They were a game away from the finals in 2023. I think this is the year that they get over the hump. So moving on with that, I'm taking them to win it all as of right now. Like I said, they've looked like the best team. They play defense. They shoot the three very well. The offense is very efficient. They can go in the fast break. They can slow it down. They can grind out games on defense. They can win high scoring games on offense. They are a very deep team, so if they get in foul trouble, they're coached very well. So they just got everything. They're the most complete team, the most deep. I mean, they're just the most well-rounded team. They're the 1 seed in the East for a reason. They have the best record in the league for a reason. So I'm going to take the Celtics to win it all. So yeah, that's going to do it for episode 9 of NBA Playoff Watch. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure you leave a like on it. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Make sure you turn on the notifications to make sure you don't miss out on any of our videos. Like I said, we got lots of content. College basketball, college football, NFL, NBA, MLB. We do all that around here. Comment down below if you agree with my takes on these teams. I'm sure you won't. But, I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comments. As always, my Discord and X are linked in the description. You can join that. You can follow that. Whatever you like to do. But I will see you guys tomorrow with our NFL picks. It might be a shorter video because, it's only 2 games. But it is what it is. So, yeah, we'll see you guys tomorrow with NFL conference. Well, I don't want to say conference, but, NFC and AFC championship picks. Yeah, see you guys tomorrow with that.